Cybersecurity controls for protecting the secure facility. When speaking about physical security in cybersecurity, we need to discuss how to protect the secure facility. A secure facility will have walls, fencing, gates, guards, dogs, ID cards, and badges. It will also include locks and keys, man traps, electronic monitoring, alarms and alarm systems, computer rooms, walls, and doors. ID cards and badges are an integral part of physical security. It ties physical security to information access with identification cards. An ID card is typically concealed, but the name badge is visible. These devices are actually biometrics. They should not be the only control, as they can be easily duplicated, stolen, and modified. We should be aware of tailgating, which occurs when unauthorized individuals follow authorized users through the control. For locks and keys, there are two types of locks: mechanical and electromechanical. Locks can also be divided into four categories: manual, programmable, electronic, and biometric. Locks can fail in one of two ways: when the lock of a door fails and the door becomes unlocked, that is a fail-safe lock; or when the lock of a door fails and the door remains locked, this is a fail-secure lock. Locks can be programmable, biometric, or electronic. Man traps. This is where an enclosure has an entry point and a different exit point. The individual enters the man trap, requests access, and if verified, is allowed to exit the man trap into the facility. If the individual is denied entry, they are not allowed to exit until a security official overrides the automatic locks of the enclosure. The man trap includes the inner lock, the man trap, and the outer lock. Normally, this is to gain or prevent access to a server room. Electronic monitoring. This records events where other types of physical controls are not practical, and may use cameras with video recorders. For alarms and alarm systems notify when an event occurs. It's used for fire, intrusion, environmental disturbance, or an interruption in services. These systems rely on sensors that can detect the event. Computer rooms and wiring and communication closets require special attention. Logical controls are easily defeated if an attacker gains physical access to the computing equipment. Interior walls and doors. The walls in a facility are typically either standard interior or firewall. Remember, all high security areas must have firewall-grade walls to provide physical security from potential intruders and improves the facility's resistance to fires. For fire safety, the most serious threat to the safety of the people who work in the organization is the possibility of fire. Fires account for more property damage, personal injury, and death than any other threat. For fire detection, a fire suppression system is installed. These devices are there to detect and respond to a fire. They work to deny an environment of one of the three requirements for a fire to burn, which includes heat, fuel, and oxygen. Water mist systems reduce the temperature. Carbon dioxide systems rob the fire of its oxygen. Soda acid systems deny fire its fuel, and gas-based systems disrupt the fire's chemical reaction, but leave enough oxygen for people to survive for a short time. Before a fire can be suppressed, it must be detected. Fire detection systems fall into two general categories: manual and automatic. Smoke detectors can operate in one of three ways: photoelectric, ionization, and air aspirating. There are three basic types of fire detection systems: thermal, smoke, and flame detection. For fire suppression, this can be portable, manual, or automatic. Portable extinguishers are rated by the type of fire. Class A, fires of ordinary combustible fuels. Class B, fires fueled by combustible liquids or gases. Class C, fires with energized electrical equipment. And Class D, fires fueled by combustible metals. For fire suppression, you can also have sprinkler systems, which apply liquid, usually water. Water mist sprinklers are the newest form of sprinkler systems and rely on microfine mist. In sprinkler systems, the organization can implement wet pipe, dry pipe, or pre-action systems. For a water sprinkler system, it is activated when the ambient temperature reaches 140 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit. The plastic pin melts, releasing the stopper and allowing water to hit the diffuser, spraying water throughout the area. For gaseous emission systems, you have carbon dioxide, which robs the fire of its oxygen supply. Alternative agents include FM200, Energen, carbon dioxide, and Fe13. Halon is a clean agent but has been classified as an ozone depleting substance, and new installations are prohibited from using it. A fire suppression system has a gas-based suppression agent. HVAC systems can cause damage to information systems. The damage can come in the form of temperatures, filtration, humidity, or static. Ventilation shafts are another critical area. The security of the ventilation system in the air ductwork should always be looked at. While in residential buildings the ductwork is quite small, in large commercial buildings it can be large enough for an individual to climb through. Security should install wire mesh grids at various points to compartmentalize the runs. When speaking about power management and conditioning, it's important to understand that electrical quantity is a concern, as is the quality of the power. Any noise that interferes with a normal 60 Hz cycle can result in inaccurate time clocks or unreliable internal clocks inside the CPU. Grounding and overloading are also important areas. Overloading a circuit not only causes problems with the circuit tripping, but can also overload the power load on an electrical cable, creating the risk of fire. The failure of supporting utilities and structural collapse. This includes supporting utilities such as heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, power, water, and other utilities. They all have a significant impact on the continued safe operation of a facility. Extreme temperatures and humidity levels, electrical fluctuations, and the interruption of water, sewage, and garbage services can create conditions that inject vulnerabilities in systems designed to protect information. UPS, uninterruptible power supplies. In case of power outage, a UPS is a backup power source for major computer systems. There are 4 types: the standby, ferro-resonant, line interactive, and the true online. For emergency shutoffs, we should always consider that one important aspect of power management in any environment is the need to be able to stop power immediately, should the current represent a risk to human or machine safety. Let's look at some of the more important electrical terms. Fault, momentary interruption in power. Blackout, prolonged interruption in power. Sag, momentary drop in power. Brownout, prolonged drop in power. Spike, momentary increase in power. Surge, prolonged increase in power. There are also water problems because the lack of water poses problems to systems, including the functionality of fire suppression systems and the ability of water chillers to provide air conditioning. Structural collapse. Unavoidable forces can cause failures of structures that house the organizations. Structures are designed and constructed with specific load limits, and overloading these design limits intentionally or unintentionally inevitably results in structural failure and potentially loss of life or injury. When looking at the testing in facility systems, remember, physical security of the facility must be constantly documented, evaluated, and tested. Testing provides information necessary to improve the physical security in the facility and identify weak points. There are 3 methods of data interception: direct observation, data transmission, and eavesdropping. Tempest is a technology that involves the control of devices that emit electromagnetic radiation, EMR, in such a manner that the data cannot be reconstructed. When we discuss mobile and portable systems, we need to understand that with the increased threat to overall information security for laptops, handhelds, PDAs, mobile computing requires even more security than the average in-house system. Many of these mobile computing systems not only have corporate information stored within them, many are configured to facilitate the user's access into the organization's secure computing facilities. How can we stop laptop losses? Well, we can look at the security and the retrieval of the lost or stolen devices. We can install CompuTrace and attach that wirelessly to a central monitoring center. Burglar alarms are made up of a PC card that contains a motion detector. If the alarm in the laptop is armed and the laptop is moved beyond a configured distance, the alarm triggers an audible alarm. The system also shuts down the computer and includes an encryption option to completely render the information unusable. When we're looking at laptops and theft deterrence, we can see that the laptop is loaded with trace software. The laptop periodically reports connection and electronic serial numbers. Central monitoring station verifies the ownership. The stolen computer information is passed to law enforcement. Remote computing security. Remote site computing, which is when you have a laptop or device which is distanced from the organizational facility. This will include telecommuting or employees that may need to access networks on business trips. or telecommuters who may need access from home or satellite offices, or to create a secure extension of the organization's internal networks. Here are some of the special considerations for physical security threats. Develop physical security in-house or outsource. That's a consideration. Social engineering is the use of people skills to obtain information from employees. We need to always look at how to protect devices, to weigh the high expense, loss of control over the individual components, and the level of trust that must be placed in another company to monitor our devices. Inventory management is another important part of physical security, as computing equipment should be inventoried and inspected on a regular basis. Classified information should also be inventoried and managed.